Hi, friends. This is NR coordinators Matt.
And Lauren,
Come vibe with us as we take a trip to the 2025 Manzanar Pilgrimage. Manzanar National Historic Site is about a 4-hour drive from Los Angeles,
if you're not counting traffic.
and it's a 4 to 6 hour drive from the Bay Area, depending on where you're coming from.
So if you're coming from SoCal on your way to Death Valley, the Bay, or Mammoth, you might want to stop by Manzanar too. One of the first things that you'll see actually on that trip is the Visitor Center, which used to be the former gym for Manzanar's high school. The Visitor Center is only open on certain days, so please make sure to check their website for the most up-to-date hours. But during their opening hours, feel free to visit their barrack exhibits, the children's village, some of the unearthed gardens, and the Irito. And these may be accessible during those days, and we highly recommend you visiting them.
The Visitor Center not only tells the story of the Japanese Americans who were incarcerated at Manzanar, but it shares the stories of local indigenous populations as well as others who used to call the land home before the government came in. And the Visitor Center happens to be where most pilgrimage attendees will begin their time at Manzanar.
The annual Manzanar Pilgrimage is usually held the last Saturday in April. The afternoon portion usually starts around 11:30, and you can tell from the hearing of the singing from musician Ken Koshio and the taiko performances from UCLA Kyodo Taiko.
Following the musical performances, the program itself usually goes through a range of speakers. It starts off with a welcome from the local Paiute tribe, who used to call the land on which Manzanar sits home. They're followed up by representatives from the National Park Service, who oversee Manzanar National Historic Site, as well as the Manzanar Committee, the group who put on the pilgrimage each and every year. After that, usually a keynote is given by a special guest. Following that is some highlighting speakers from other communities or organizations that join the pilgrimage. Oftentimes then, an award or special recognition is given to somebody in our community. And then finally, a student speaker chosen from one of the schools that helps put on Manzanar each year is chosen to close things out. And then, once the speakers are done, things end off officially with a band and procession going from the main stage into the Manzanar Cemetery, where folks gather around the Ireito for an interfaith vigil with Buddhist, Shinto, and Christian clergy, where they lead a ceremony honoring and remembering all of those incarcerated, but especially those who passed away while in camp.
Once the afternoon programming concludes, there's about a few hours of rest for attendees before they need to head out to Lone Pine, which is the closest city to Manzanar. A program that I personally find to be special is Manzanar at Dusk, or some of us call it MAD. I might be biased as being my favorite, but that might be because I helped organize MAD about 3 years in a row when I was a student. The Manzanar at Dusk program is a time for reflection for all attendees who come to the program and pilgrimage itself. It's a rare time to have intergenerational conversation, especially with survivors and their descendants. In addition, this program is led and organized by student leaders from UCSD, my alma mater, UCLA, UCR, Cal State Fullerton, Cal State Long Beach, and Cal Poly Pomona. Students will start off the night by sharing a prepared programming before everyone is broken up into discussion groups. These discussion groups are also led by student leaders, and it's a time for attendees to share their thoughts and reflections on the pilgrimage and spending time at Manzanar that day.
When everyone comes back from their small group discussions, the program closes out with an open mic, where anyone is free to share their thoughts, or even art, like spoken word or poetry, with everyone in attendance. I actually was one of the brave few that shared a poem that I wrote during my first pilgrimage all the way back in 2019, which also happened to be the 50th anniversary of the Manzanar Pilgrimage. Well, everyone, we really hope you enjoyed this road trip recap with us, and thank you for vibing with us on this trip to Manzanar.
Feel free to drop a comment below to share what your Manzanar pilgrimage experience has been like, whether it's from this year or past years. Also, feel free to check out our 2025 Manzanar pilgrimage post on Instagram, and don't forget to follow us there as well as here on YouTube. Also, make sure to follow our parent organization, Japanese American Memorial Pilgrimages. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.